Right, this is just a decorating technique type of video for extra pieces. I want to just mention that I'm carrying all my pieces on that little leftover foam board that we used in class from our clay masks, the one we were carrying around then. If you want to cut it in four and have different pieces, but so that you can carry, you know, one piece here, one, and have your different pieces as you need them. So think about how you're going to carry these and to make them work for you. And also, always work on a sheet of paper. Even if you have the board, if you have a sheet of paper, you can, you know, rotate it as you work, and you can work a lot better. So always use something to carry on them, you know, whatever, a piece of cardboard, whatever you have at home, and then just a piece of paper so you guys can rotate them and actually use them. So, so here it is. I have my 3 pieces to my cake that I made, and I'm purposely drying them upside down so that when I get done, they have a really nice flat top. If I let them dry right side up, they're going to start sinking in as they dry. So I'm making sure they dry upside down. And when I put them in my locker, or when you put them to store for the day, I carry them in my little board like this, you know, obviously with a sheet of paper, and I make sure there's a bag on top. They're going to start drying at the bottom pretty fast. So I would really, really encourage you to grab a piece of plastic, either shrink wrap or a piece of bag or an old, you know, Ziploc bag, whatever. And go ahead and put that at the bottom and then wrap the top. Actually, I shouldn't say I encourage you. I really need you to do that. Put some kind of plastic down and then wrap the top so that they dry slowly and they don't dry too fast. The paper and the foam board or cardboard, whatever you use, is going to suck up all the moisture and dry it out too fast. So please carry it with a bit of plastic underneath, and then you can wrap it on top. Okay, so I wanted to show you some techniques now on how to just build different things. I'm going to start with the house. I just cut myself a little rectangle of clay, and I just grabbed a ruler or my scoring card, and I just kind of laid on it a little flat like this. And I made myself some little shutters. Is that on the camera? Yeah. So I made myself some little shutters, and I left my marks kind of like indented. Some of them are not. So I just did that. I'm going to grab little pieces of clay, just tiny little ones, and I am just going to score and slip behind it, and I'm going to lay them on top. So think about that, making little shutters, making different little things for your houses. You know, maybe some of them are a little, you know, crooked, give it some character. So think about doing different pieces for your house. Of course, score and slip and put them on the back. I made this piece right here, which is like a little brick that I would like to rotate like this above my windows. It just snapped, sorry, but because it's not small enough. I mean, it's too small. But where I can wrap around my windows, maybe you want the little ledge of your windowsill to be like this. And all I did is I just took a little slab and I cut it straight. And I made sure it's kind of thick, a little bit thick. And I just made these little indentions in it. And yeah, you can see that in the video, sorry, just making sure. And then, you know, as you attach it, you score and slip it, and you can start making your arches to go over your windows or whatever you want. So those are just 2 little house things. For cakes, I made a couple different flowers in different styles of my flowers. So I want to show you how to make them. This one right here is a piece of clay, a little long slab. I made a really long, let me move this out of the way. I made a really long little piece of slab of clay, and it's kind of medium. It's, I mean, kind of thin, I'm sorry. It's not too thin, but it's not too thick either. It's kind of like a medium one. So I made myself a piece, and then I took the end of my card, and I just cut these little triangle shapes out of it. And I just cut little shapes, and I made it kind of crooked. So this is what I made, kind of like that. And then I just grabbed a little bit of water, went all the way across the bottom. I very gently scored it across the bottom, and I just took it and I started and I just rolled it. And as I rolled, I did my center just fine. And I am going to grab a little bit of water and thin these out, these little spikes. As I roll, I'm going to grab water, kind of just squeeze them at the edges to make them look thinner. And I'm going to keep rolling and just keep squeezing my clay at the edges so they look like different petals. And some of these little broken pieces I love because they look like real petals. But, so that's how I made one of them. This one right here, it's a little bit different and it looks kind of wrinkled. So I grabbed a piece of clay, another thin piece of clay, and I cut it. It's a very thin and it just tapers. And what I did is I just rolled the same way. I added some water. I scored my bottom a little bit. And I just started rolling. And I kept it even at the bottom. And as they went out, I just started kind of rotating it out. And I would rip it in some spots and just go. And then when I got done with it, I got my whole edges kind of sort of mushy. And then I just started wrinkling it. And I made it too tight here in the middle, I'm sorry. But you just start wrinkling it. And kind of moving it around. And you'll get this different kind of flower. Okay. Another one is just to grab a real thin slab. This is my leftover piece. Grab a real thin slab. And just cut little pieces. And kind of put it together. Cut another piece off. And it's ugly. It's random. And I just stick it to it. And I'm going to cut another piece off. And I'm just going to stick it to the bottom of that. And I'm going to cut another piece off. And mine is tiny, tiny. Yours is probably going to be a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to attach that at the bottom. Just a random piece. And I cut another piece off. And I just attach that. And I just keep going. And that's how I made that other one that had all those in it. So I just kept adding pieces and I got bigger and bigger. After I let these dry for a little bit, I'm going to cut off, just pinch off the bottom of my flowers so they're kind of thin at the bottom. That way I can attach them to my cake and they'll lay flat with it. So there's that. Just a thing I want to say about layering of houses and cakes both for rooftops and just anything. When you have your piece, you need to make sure that this part is super dry before you try to add your top tiers. Okay? Make sure that it's super dry before you try to stack them. And of course, of course you're going to score and slip and add that little coil like I did on the other one. When you attach two pieces, add a little coil around it, score and slip it, and smooth up and smooth down so you have a really nice piece. I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, please ask. Again, I'm going to let this dry upside down. I have these little circles that I made that I'm just going to pinch like that. I'm going to pinch another one and put it right there. I'm going to pinch another one and put it right there. And so on. You just pinch all of them and then you can put an edge on your cake. One of the cake examples that we saw had a bunch of these where you close them. And you can just add them. You make it flat. Then you pinch it. You can have another one. You make it flat and then you pinch it. And you can also arrange these to be, you know, that kind of flower. Obviously, I would use 4. I also have this one where they're long, skinny, where I made my little circle and then I kind of made it flat here. And for that one, I am going to use a paintbrush just because I like the edge in the paintbrush. And it's going to make it kind of thin. I'm going to stab it in the middle and just pull back. So I'm going to stab it here in the middle and just pull back. I can even shape it a little more if I want with my paintbrush. And I'm actually going to stack these right on top of each other. I might brush them up a little bit to get them more cakey looking. And then when I do a whole bunch of these together, I can give myself an edge around the bottom of my cake that'll look kind of nice. Just these by themselves, where the backs get smushed flat, thin, I just go here and I add them. Remember, everything you add does need to be scored and slipped. You can squeeze the bottom, add it, score and slip it, and then you get that kind of little texture on your bottom of your cake. So those are just some ideas. Start thinking of how to make extra little pieces for your cakes, and just think about, you know, symmetry and going all the way around. All right, guys, I hope you have fun. Thank you.